Hello and welcome to the Bellingham Real Estate Podcast. I'm Paul Balzotti. I'm here with Barbara. How's it going, Barbara?
Good. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good. Thank you for joining us today. And we are going to talk about boating and the marine life and the saltwater world out there as it relates to Bellingham and Whatcom County. And a little bit, we'll touch later on a little bit about how it relates to the housing market as well.
Yeah.
And of course, I wanted to have you on because I know this is a world that you're very passionate about. And so why don't you start out by just sharing with everybody the organization you're a part of?
So I'm a full-time realtor at John L. Scott. But for the last 14, 15 years, I've also been working at San Juan Sailing, Yachting, and Chartering down here at the Marina in Bellingham. San Juan Sailing's been around for over 30 years. Started out with 2 boats, but now it's over 55 power and sailboats. And we get people from all over the United States and internationally that come out to cruise the San Juans, cruise the Gulf Islands up in BC. And I work there on Friday afternoons. Sometimes I work greeting people, but mostly I'm a checkout skipper, working with them on the dock with the boats and helping orientate them to our area.
So what sparked your interest in getting into that world?
It started when I was at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. They had a sailing. The school's on 15-mile long lake, and everybody sails. Everybody's on the water all the time. So it started there, and then moved to California, worked at UC Irvine in Southern California, joined their sailing club, and then I started racing offshore with a group, and then I joined Orange Coast College School of Seamanship and took all the classes.
So you started racing sailboats?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, offshore, around Catalina Island, overnight, all that kind of stuff.
So you started on a lake in Wisconsin.
Yep.
Then worked your way
to open water.
Open water, yeah. And that is, and so how does that compare? So California to here, I wanted to get into what are the benefits of the area, sailing, yachting, boating here versus other parts of the country. But maybe even a better question might be directly California to here. How's it different? I mean, obviously it's warmer down there.
Yeah, the water temperature is a little warmer down there, but not much.
Yeah.
One of the things is down there you have open ocean. There's only one island to go to, and it's Catalina right offshore, and then some of the Channel Islands. If you go north here, we're in protected waters. Out in the San Juans are protected because of the geographical ranges of the mountains, so our weather is more mild. We get extreme tides, but that you can deal with that. But the weather windows that we have in the San Juans and up in the Gulf Islands and BC don't compare to anything down south at all. So
and again, I know very little about this subject, so I'm gonna ask dumb questions. So what you're saying, the way I'm understanding this is that just essentially it just can be calmer.
Yes.
The waters can be calmer, whereas going out in open ocean, it's going to be less predictable or less calm in general.
Yes.
That makes sense because of the bays.
The bays also, and the mountain ranges on the Olympic Peninsula, and also Vancouver Island. So, and everybody knows where the San Juans are. Everybody knows where the Gulf Islands are. They're known across, up and down the coast because it's a protected area. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. So would you say, let's get into that. So those are the benefits. So the benefits of getting into boating, or if you're already into boating, of moving up here and being a part of that scene is you got the San Juan Islands, you have the protected coastline. What are the other benefits for sailing, boating in general in this area?
Well, there's so many marinas up here. Also, go down the Puget Sound. There are so many towns that have marinas, and you can go south. You can go north. You can go all the way up to Alaska through the Inside Passage. There's thousands of miles of boating in this whole area.
When you're yachting, or not yachting, when you're yachting, that's different. I'm sorry. When you're sailing, what would be the farthest that you would coming out of Bellingham? If you're coming out of Bellingham, how far would you pretend? I guess it depends on the size of the sailboat, right? I mean, I guess but. Do you guys have a sailboat? Do you have your own?
Oh, we used to, yeah.
Okay, so when you had your own sailboat, would you just jump over to Orcas Island, or would you go?
Oh, yeah. So when we lived aboard down south on a boat, sold that one, bought another one.
And you lived on the boat for that? Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty common too. And
yes and no.
Not common, but isn't there, sorry I'm asking now 2 questions at once, but isn't there locations and on most of these marinas? Do they let you live in the marina in the summer?
Year round.
Year round. So and there's people year round that do, right?
Yes, in Bellingham, there's people out on GDoc who live year round.
And you've done it.
That was in Southern California where it's warm. Here, no. We bought a boat. We had it in the water, and we had a 30-foot. We did like 1,000 nautical miles in the Gulf Islands and the San Juan in 2 years.
Okay.
So we were out and about. So from here, you can go all the way. You could go all the way to the North Vancouver on the Inside Passage. Most people stick in the San Juan, jump over to Victoria on Vancouver Island, or just do Southern Gulf Islands.
So let's say, when people are boating out to go to a destination, let's say and I know we're going to touch on Birch Bay, Semiahmoo, but let's say from there or from Bellingham or Sandy Point, or those areas.
Yeah.
What would be like maybe the top 5, 6, 7 destinations as far as spots that are the most popular to go out to?
Yeah. One of the jobs that I do when I'm talking to the charter guests is route finding. What do they want to do and where do they want to go? Most popular is hitting so there's a chain of islands before you even get into the San Juans. They're part of the San Juans, but they are all state parks. And so it's all recreation. It's all fishing, kayaking, paddleboarding around, and just hiking. So Susha's the first most people go to.
Yep.
And then they hop into the northern Gulf Islands, and they go into Roche Harbor, which is on San Juan.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful marina. It's very old, but meaning historic. But it's one of the biggest marinas in the San Juans. And then they hop down to Friday Harbor.
Yeah.
And then they go to Rosario, which is on Orcas, and then they come back, and that's a 10-day cruise.
Oh wow.
If you do that one. Yeah, because the distances aren't too far, but it takes time.
So you're going to spend a week, and then you might go stay in Roche Harbor for a few days, and then this all actually sounds pretty fabulous.
Oh, it is. It's so fun. Everybody when they come, they're ready to have adventure.
Yeah, and so so this is going to get posted here, in the spring. Going into the spring and summer, I'm sure that's when most of the events are. What are the biggest events that are in Whatcom County every year for boating?
Yeah. So obviously May 1st is opening day of boating internationally.
Oh, I didn't know.
So there's
it's not obvious to me.
No, I know, right? That's only the people on the dock who know about it.
Yeah.
That is opening day. There's events like.
What does that mean, the opening day? Because
opening day is basically a party.
Okay, so because you can technically go out, obviously, whenever. So it's just like, hey, this is the day that we're gonna celebrate. It's like go time.
Yep. Yeah. So the charter season here starts in April? Starts in April.
Okay.
Goes all the way to the 1st of November. That's our charter season. You can boat year round, no problem. If you have the proper, boat and knowledge and understanding of weather patterns, you can go all year round. So.
Right.
But one of the events that so there's 2 yacht clubs in town. In addition, they have regattas, and one of them is called the Pitch Regatta, which is like 50 years in the making, and it's in Bellingham Bay. There's Thursday night racing. There's other areas in Bellingham that have smaller boats, like dinghy size. They have their own regattas. So there's all those different events that people can participate in.
Would you say that how many of these with the local events is it primarily kind of as a community of people that generally get to know each other really well, or do you get a lot of people that are coming from Anacortes or coming from Birch?
Yeah.
Is there a lot or coming from, or they're renting something and they're real, affluent and kind of just coming in and want to just, what's the percent? What about how much of it is outsiders coming in for these things versus like a really vibrant local scene? So
Pitch Regatta is probably up and down the Sound. People bring their boats from down south. People bring it we don't get people from Canada, but that's a Pitch Regatta is probably part of a series that people are doing with their race boat. The thing that Community Boating Center in Fairhaven, that's all local. Bellingham Yacht Club, their classes, that's all local. Their regattas are all local. Thursday nights local, all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with the yacht club, and with you guys, there's basically, let's just kind of also jump to the different types of opportunities out there. So let's say again, you're new to this world and you're kind of dipping your toes in, no pun intended, right? But and then
you will.
oh gosh, that's a lame joke. But so you got you know, you have the small sailboats and then larger sailboats. Why don't you just explain it? Because I'm going to sound like an idiot.
Sure. No. So if you want to get into sailing, you can start when your kids are. You can start with your kids. You can start as a family, or you can start as an adult. So Community Boating Center has, I think it's USA is the association they deal with. They're racing. They are in small boats. You're learning how to sail, the theory, and all that other stuff. San Juan Sailing, the charter school, and the sailing school, and the power school, they're all about ASA, American Sailing Association. You can get all your certification through San Juan Sailing, and you can charter boats with them. There's like over 55 boats in the fleet, ranging from 30 to 50 sail and power. That ASA certification, you can take it anywhere in the world and charter based on that. So that's more like offshore navigation, marine weather, and then just boat handling, rules of the road, and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So you can go through Community Boating Center and do the small craft, or you can jump into offshore or local, you know, with San Juan Sailing.
And so San Juan Sailing obviously focuses on sailing, but when you're talking about with a yacht club, so then that's just kind of a mix. They just kind of have the motor. No, it's
interesting. The yacht club is all sailing.
Oh, it's all sailing.
Yep.
Okay.
San Juan Sailing is power and sail, and
so that would be a difference between the two organizations then.
Pretty much, yeah. So we're that's a club. We are a business. San Juan Sailing and Chartering is a business.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, that's the other difference then, is one's kind of got the and then all right, and then the next thing I want to touch on is we briefly touched on it, but what are the communities locally where there are marinas?
Yes. So Port of Bellingham has a huge marina here in Bellingham. The wait list is quite many years because it's super popular. Oh, yeah. Most people, there's Bellingham and Blaine are the two Port of Bellingham marinas. Most people go to Blaine first, get in there, and then get on the wait list, come down to Bellingham. If you want to have your boat at your dock, you could do Sandy Point, which has docks right outside your homes, or you could do Birch Bay Village, which has marinas, and your boat can be right at your house as well, too. Or you can be up at Semiahmoo live in Semiahmoo and then go out to the marina at Semiahmoo, and you can buy a slip at Semiahmoo.
You could buy a slip at Semiahmoo and at Birch Bay Village, right?
Yes. Well, most often it comes with your property.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know that our office, we sell sometimes those splits at Birch Bay Village separately.
Yes. Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
You can if people own and don't have a boat. At least. Yeah.
Right. Sure. So, but generally speaking, it would go to the house, but that can be done separately. And is there any advantages? I know Birch Bay is in the rain shadow, so it's nice that way. But I mean, is there any benefits up there at all? Yes. Like anything you go up that
and
way?
Also, I was going to say, if you have a trailer rowboat, you can launch Blaine. You can Birch Bay, Semiahmoo, all those places, and Bellingham. You can launch your boat too.
Right.
But the benefit for getting to the islands, most people, if they launch out of Bellingham, you have 7 nautical miles of the bay that kicks up. It gets really nasty in there quickly in the afternoon. If you launch from Sandy Point or Blaine, you're cutting across the Rosario Straits in that area, and we don't have the weather that's closer to the islands. You get tucked in faster into the weather pattern out in the islands faster. So,
that makes sense, and that's got to be a big part of the learning process is understanding the weather patterns.
Local knowledge is key.
Yeah, because you could probably get yourself in some pretty hairy situations.
I've been in them. I've been on the backside of Lummi, coming down in swells that are huge to my advantage, but it kicks up.
What do you mean by to your advantage?
If you're going downwind in your sailboat and your swells are coming from the north and you're going with it, it's great. But if you're going into it, it's not so great.
So, I mean, even with the big swell, when you're in a sailboat, you can just kind of just let them just like be your engine kind of, and that can still get a little bit sketchy.
Well, here it's interesting. Here we can have 15-foot tidal swings in the summer, so that creates its own knot. So if you're going with the current, you can be going faster than your boat speed, hull speed.
Wow.
If you're going against it, it's kind of a little nasty.
Yeah, yeah.
You're taking out a little water.
Yeah,
and get wet.
And then I also don't want to forget, we'll talk a little bit more about the real estate side of things, but marine life out there. What do you run into when you're out there?
Most often around the marinas, it's the seals, the harbor seals. They'll hang out on the docks, or the birds, a lot of the seagulls and stuff. But once you're offshore or in the islands, dolphins are always on the bow, pretty much. You see pods of dolphin all the time. And then just seabirds. The other things you see, like orcas, there's an app where you can find out where the pods are, and you can find out where they're moving through. And sometimes, you're out there and your engines are off and you're just sailing, obviously. We've had orcas come under our boat.
Wow.
Because they're coming down and we're going up. And they just come out. So you're supposed to stay in Canada. You have to stay away from them because that's their feeding grounds in certain areas. So you get heavily fined for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But if they're transiting, they're out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize. I knew obviously orcas because there's all sorts of orca, and that's important for people to know if they're moving into the area. There's whale watching, all the time that goes out of the bay. But I didn't realize that you see a lot of dolphins too.
Yes, all the time.
Huh.
Yeah, dolphins and they're smaller porpoises.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, smaller porpoises.
Yeah.
Okay. And you definitely know about the seals. If you've hung out at all by a marina.
Yes, sometimes they're hanging out. Just come, and especially down in Bellingham, they'll hop on the dock and just sun.
Yeah, I don't remember where it was out of, but there used to be a one-eyed Willie or something that was just like. That would just hang out.
That's Friday Harbor.
Oh, that's Friday Harbor.
Yep.
One-eyed Willie.
Yep.
I remember. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Lots of memories of that. And then okay, so jumping into the real estate world. So, if you're looking for a home,
yes.
You mentioned Sandy Point.
Yes.
Semiahmoo, Birch Bay Village.
Yes.
Any other kind of tips for people who are relocating here that are into this world, areas to look, things like that?
So I currently have a client who has a sailboat, and they are up in Birch Bay Village.
Yeah.
And they go in winter in Mexico during the winter, and then they come back up here and they cruise with their boat. But being in Birch Bay Village, they're feeling like their boat is very secure from weather, from theft, because it's a secured community. So they leave their boat in the water unattended. They don't have anybody checking on it, and they feel Birch Bay Village is great for them.
Yeah.
Semiahmoo, all the marinas here are gated, so the codes change every week, so nobody can just walk on the dock. So being in a secure place like Birch Bay Village has an extra layer. Semiahmoo, you could keep your boat up there, but Birch Bay Village is what most people who work at San Juan Sailing keep their boat either in Marina or live up in Birch Bay Village because they just like the quick access and the security of it all. Yeah.
And Sandy Point as well, but it's a little bit smaller. Right?
It's smaller. They have their challenges with their opening to get out. They have to take it at high tide because it's narrower. And if you have a keel boat, you're drawing 6 or 7 feet, so you have to kind of time it right.
Keel boat, is that just a deeper boat?
Down the sailboat is the keel down below.
Oh, okay.
How much you are pulling through the water.
Okay, so that would it'd be better for like a motorboat, not as big for sailboats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They only draw like 2 to 3 feet at the most.
So it's mostly motorboats there.
Yep. Mostly power. Yeah. Up in that area.
Sweet.
So yeah.
And okay, so anything else that you want to touch on as far as so we touched on the different. I think we covered the organizations, right?
Yeah, different ways to get into sailing on saltwater, and then if you want to learn how to sail or powerboat, they have a school, San Juan Sailing or Community Boating Center and I've done the Community Boating Center for fun. Yeah. And on the racing dinghies, and that's a lot of kids, a lot of adults. It's a huge, vibrant community too.
Yeah. And that's and then are they the ones who have the spot in Lake Whatcom too on
So that is Lakewood. Lakewood is a sailing base that's for Western students, alumni, staff, and then also BTC and another organization. If you're a student, you can go there and take classes, charter boats, rent them on the lake.
Yeah, and that's probably I think if I was to learn, I'd feel better about learning.
Well, Lake Whatcom is not too much different temperature than.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not too much.
And I mean, so you would argue. I mean, you're a little biased because you're. I'm just joking, but no,
Yeah.
but no.
So in your first entry sailing class, you have to turtle your boat.
You have to.
You have to get in the water, and so if you're going in the salt water and you have a wetsuit on, it just takes your breath away.
Yeah.
Lake Whatcom a little warmer, but you're still cold.
Yeah, and they do that to the kids too. Right?
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
and the kids love it.
Yeah,
totally crazy.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, that was very informational for me. So I hope it was for others listening or watching. And if you want to help looking for a home or have real estate or marina questions, you can reach out to Barbara.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you for watching and listening, you guys.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you.